It's Bengals week, Steelers fans, which means that it is going to be a bloodbath this week at Acrisure Stadium. Do me a favor right now and predict the score of the Steelers and Bengals game this weekend, and stick around to the end of the show where I'm going to reveal my score prediction. I think you're going to be pretty happy. What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. Today, we are breaking down the Steelers' Week 11 matchup against the dreaded Cincinnati Bengals. Huge rivalry week. It is a huge game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm so excited to break it down with you guys today. But before we get into all the action, we are currently in a sub-battle with Ravens Rundown. And over the first 2 days of this sub-battle, we have done a fantastic job so far. 42-11 since Sunday. So we're in great shape right now, Steeler Nation. You guys have done a great job. Thank you to all the people that have subscribed. But with these sorts of things, guys, it's very, very easy to fall back and get complacent. And the Ravens Rundown people, man, they're going to see this and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, we got to get those subs in. So expect Ravens Rundown to have a little bit of a rally here, but we need to do our part. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet and you hate the Baltimore Ravens and you want to embarrass Ravens flock this week, subscribe to the channel right now. We provide daily Steelers news and rumors content. So if that's your sort of thing, help Steeler Nation win off the field this week by subscribing to the channel right now. Now let's get into this week's matchup, and let's go over this matchup's week one bout that was really exciting. It was a very exciting game between these two teams in week one. The Steelers had 5 turnovers, 7 sacks, and there's a bunch of missed kicks. The Bengals had what many thought would be a game-winning touchdown at the end, but Minkah Fitzpatrick blocked the game-winning PAT and sent it to overtime. And then Mitchell Trubisky showed up big late in the final moments of overtime, and then Chris Boswell boots in that really long field goal to take the victory. So at the end of the day, this looks – I think it's going to be a very similar matchup this week, guys. I think that the Bengals are a team that the Steelers can potentially beat this week. If you look at the numbers this week, the offense and the defense, this is on paper a game that the Cincinnati Bengals should win. They have played better than the Pittsburgh Steelers so far this year. That's just a fact. Right now, Cincinnati is favorited by 4.5. And then the over-under is 40. But the Steelers are home. And at the end of the day, guys, I'm really excited to see what this team can do because they beat the Bengals at Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati. And now with Kenny Pickett, who is arguably a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky. I know some of you would disagree with me on that, but the offense seemed to be doing a lot better last week. It's a lot better than it was in week one, in my opinion. And I think the Steelers are going to have a shot to win this week, but on paper at least, the Bengals are the favorites here. If you just take a look at these numbers, the Bengals are averaging almost 10 points more per game. They're averaging almost 50 yards per game more. And then third down red zone, they're doing way better than the Steelers right now. And then the turnover differential, they're beating us by 5 in that category as well. So on paper, the Bengals should absolutely win this game. So it's no wonder why the Bengals are favorited. But I do think the Steelers are going to have a shot in this one. And when I get into my keys to victory later on in the show, I'm going to tell you why. But let's get into some injuries, some injury news here. And Minkah Fitzpatrick, kind of the surprise of the day was when Mike Tomlin in his press conference today said that he is optimistic that Minkah Fitzpatrick could play this week. The original report was that he was going to miss multiple weeks after he got his appendix removed. But it looks like that he is going to have a chance to practice and possibly even play this week. And he said that, Minkah was running around at practice today. He wasn't even a limited participant. He was just kind of there, but he was running around, and apparently he is itching to get back on the field. I'm excited to see if he's going to play. And then Dotson is also questionable with a hip this week. Same thing with Witherspoon, who's been dealing with that hamstring. And then Jackson and Boswell and Leal are all going to be on IR, not playing at all. But what's really interesting is the Bengals injuries this week. We know for a fact Jamar Chase, he's already been declared out. He's not going to play. He might play next week, but it's looking like he's not going to play this week. He's already been listed as out. And then the other big storyline here with the Bengals is that they have a bunch of their cornerbacks hurt right now. Awuzie's on the IR. Hilton is questionable with a finger. Flowers is questionable with a hamstring. And then Daxton Hill, their rookie safety / nickel cornerback, he's questionable with a shoulder as well. So their secondary is bereft with injuries right now. And right now they have Cameron Taylor Britt. Yes, I bet you guys haven't even heard that guy's name before. He is supposed, if none of these guys end up playing, he's going to be their starting outside cornerback, outside or on the other side of Eli Apple, who also gives up a lot of big plays. So the secondary could be a big problem for the Bengals. So coming up, I'm going to give you my keys to victory for the Steelers to beat the Bengals this weekend and give you my score prediction. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor at Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while also helping reforestation efforts across the globe. It is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland. You're watching a video of the estate right now, and an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities such as One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially become a lord or lady and put it on your credit cards, plane tickets, dating profiles, and more. It makes a great last-minute gift for the Game of Thrones fan in your family. House of the Dragon is really big right now. The first 200 people that purchase a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot. So I got a plot in Eddleston, Scotland right now. I am Lord Sperry. And if you want a plot next to mine and join Steeler Nation in Eddleston, Scotland, you got to use our link. You got to use our link here that we're going to put on the screen here in just a second. But depending on how many of you want to become a lord or lady, we can build our little Steelers Nation. So if you want to be a part of that, you got to use our link. But right now, guys, the Black Friday deals that they have on their title packs are absolutely insane. They're up to 80% off right now, and you can get an additional 10% off if you use our link. It's establishedtitles.com/chat. And if you use that link and use promo code chat, they're going to give you an additional 10% off their already discounted prices. So if you have a Game of Thrones fan in your family, like your mom is really into The Crown or House of the Dragon or whatever the show may be that uses this kind of language, this would make you the gift-giving MVP this Christmas season if you show up and you say you are now officially a lord or lady. That would be a fantastic gift. And right now with these prices, it's a no-brainer, guys. It's a no-brainer Christmas gift for that person in your family. So go to establishedtitles.com/chat and use promo code chat to get that extra 10% off. All right, now let's get into some of these troublemakers here that the Bengals have on their offense. Joe Burrow, obviously one of the top 10 best quarterbacks in the National Football League, in my opinion. And really, he's just incredible, guys. With the offensive line that he has to work with, the ability to find the open man and put it on him with an accurate ball, the deep ball accuracy. Joe Burrow is special, guys. We know that. And in order to beat him, the Steelers defense is going to have to get after him. And then Joe Mixon, he just got off a 5-touchdown performance against the Browns, guys. This guy is dynamic as hell. He can score touchdowns. He can get in the end zone. He can create yards after the catch. And just in open space, he's really dangerous. And then Jamar Chase is out. That's going to be huge for the Bengals offense. It's been huge since he's been out, but T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are no joke. They're both really good receivers. Joe Burrow likes to say that they have 3 number 1 receivers on their team, so Higgins and Boyd could definitely be a problem for the Steelers, or at least a potential problem. And then Trey Hendrickson on the defense. He's their best defensive player, and really with all the injuries that they have in the secondary right now, the Bengals are really going to be relying on Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard to get home and get to Kenny Pickett and really put pressure on the young QB. So those are the guys that could really ruin the Steelers' day. But before we get into my keys to victory this week, today, guys, we were supposed to do the tortilla slap today, because you guys got 10 new Twitter followers on my Twitter at Jack_Sperry. Thank you to everyone that followed, but I came to work today thinking there was going to be tortillas in the fridge, and there just wasn't. So we're going to actually do it tomorrow, but to make it up to you guys, we're gonna give you another day to rack up those followers so that we can get even more slaps on the docket. So every 10 slaps or every 10 followers that we get on my Twitter at Jack_Sperry, we're gonna add it to the 1 slap that we already got. So no matter what, tomorrow there will be a tortilla slap. But if you guys want to see more slaps, if you want to see me get slapped multiple times, go follow me on Twitter right now for Kenny Pickett analysis, live Steelers reactions to every Steelers game, all that sorts of stuff. If you want additional Steelers content, go to @Jack_Sperry and rack up those followers to rack up those slaps. All right, my first key to victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one is that the pass rush and T.J. Watt need to dominate. Last time that they played the Bengals, they absolutely dominated. And here are their numbers this season. Okay, they 5.5 yards per play. That's 13th. They're not super explosive, but we know that they can score quickly. And then third down and red zone, they're absolutely excellent. That's a sign of a well-coached team. And then outside of the Steelers game in Week 1 where they had 5 turnovers, they've only had 5 turnovers the rest of the way, which is one of the best rates in the National Football League. So really, Joe Burrow is one of the guys in this league that doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. So I'm not sure if the Steelers are going to be able to get that 5 turnover performance this week. But, at the end of the day, the way to get to this Bengals team is through the offensive line. The offensive line is the weakest link on this Cincinnati offense, and you gotta put pressure on Joe Burrow, and you gotta take advantage of that. And the Steelers can absolutely do that. They got 7 sacks on Joe Burrow in Week 1 with T.J. Watt in the lineup. Alex Highsmith has been playing fantastically. He might win AFC Defensive Player of the Week tomorrow. Who knows? But, we got Cam Hayward. When you got those 3 guys and you got this terrible offensive line with Cincinnati, Pittsburgh can really fuck some shit up there on defense. Seriously. And they got to do it this game, because if they're not going to do it, then Joe Burrow is just going to slice them up. He's going to get it to Tyler Boyd. He's going to get it to T. Higgins. So the pass rush needs to take advantage of this terrible offensive line if they want to win this football game. And I'm not saying you have to get 7 sacks, but you got to get quite a few sacks in this one. You have to generate consistent pressure. You got to force Joe Burrow into making mistakes, and you got to capitalize on those mistakes. So will the Steelers be over or under 5.5 sacks in Week 11? If you think they're going to get 6 or more sacks, type O. And if you think they're going to sack him 5 or less times, type U in the comment section right now. All right, now the second key to victory this week for me is that the offense and Kenny Pickett and Najee Harris and Matt Canada, they need to step up this week, because the last time they played the Bengals, they played so poorly that the Bengals almost came back and won that football game. So let's take a look at their stats from Week 1, where they had 267 total yards of offense. That's not very good. Passing yards with Mitchell Trubisky, under 200. He really showed up at the end, but for most of the game, the offense was just completely stagnant. Najee Harris, only 75 yards there with the rushing game total. That needs to be improved this week. And then on third down, 4 of 15, just not consistent whatsoever. And they did get a touchdown on their 2 red zone trips. But at the end of the day, it needs to be better this week. Kenny Pickett needs to step up and be better than Mitchell Trubisky was in Week 1. He needs to take another step forward. We saw him really gut out a gutsy performance there in Week 10 against the Saints. Now we need to see him continue to move up that staircase, take another step forward and upward. And right now, this is really going to be the key to the game, because you're going to have to expect him to make some big throws, and then Najee Harris in the run game is going to have to keep the mojo going. He's going to have to continue to make those explosive run plays. If he doesn't, it's going to be stagnant, and I'm telling you right now, guys, the 5 turnovers that they got last time is not going to happen. So if the Steelers want to win this football game, they have to be more consistent and sustain drives, score in the red zone, all these things that contribute to offensive success. They have to do a better job in Week 11. All right, so how many TDs will the Steelers offense have against the Cincinnati Bengals this week? Let me know in the comments. In my opinion, I think the Steelers offense is going to have 2. I think George Pickens is going to have a much awaited receiving touchdown this week, and I think Najee Harris will get another touchdown as well to his rushing total. All right, number 3 on my list is Matthew Wright cannot suck, guys. He had some very, very ugly kicks last week. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He was bad last week. 2 missed field goals. At least he was able to hit those 2 other field goals and 2 extra points. But, come on. In this game against the Bengals, such an important game. Every point counts. Every opportunity to score matters. He cannot miss anything. He has to play a completely clean football game. And, not having Chris Boswell is going to really suck this week. But Matthew Wright, it looks like he's going to have a chance to prove himself this week after having a couple of really, really ugly kicks that almost looked like they got blocked. But, I mean, he just hooked it so bad. I mean, he didn't look good last week. Hopefully he looks better this week. He absolutely cannot suck if the Steelers want to win. And then finally, the Steelers need to make the big plays late in the game. In the fourth quarter, it's where successful teams in the National Football League are born. I mean, just look at the Vikings versus the Raiders. Both of them have 6+ games decided between a one-score margin. The Vikings are undefeated in those games. The Steelers have not won a single one. So it's like, this is where teams make their money. It's one thing to be put in a position to win. It is another to actually deliver the dub. And the Steelers, last week, they got a couple interceptions on Andy Dalton. They made some big plays late, and they got the dub. This week, it has to be something very, very similar. They need to get the dub this week. They have to make the big plays when it matters, whether that's getting a late interception on Joe Burrow or getting a big sack in a big situation or Kenny Pickett driving the team down for a game-winning touchdown. I don't care what it is. If you're in position to win the football game, you got to make the plays late, and that's just the way it is at the end of the day. All right, guys, predict the score of Bengals versus Steelers in the comments section. If you did it, if you didn't do it earlier, do it right now before I reveal my score prediction here. And for me, I'm going to say the Steelers are going to win 26-24. Keep the win streak alive. I think it's going to be a fantastic game once again. I think whenever these two teams collide, it's always a great football game. And I think this week the Steelers are going to make enough plays, enough situations here. I think Matthew Wright, I'm kind of relying on Matthew Wright to hit the field goals here, but I think they're going to get 3 field goals, 2 touchdowns. And I think it's going to be a very, very close margin of victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this pass rush is going to be really good. I think they'll get maybe 1 or 2 interceptions on Joe Burrow in this one. I think the defense is going to look fantastic yet again. And I think the Steelers at Acrisure Stadium are going to get the victory. All right, guys, that's going to put us to the end of the video here. So where are my real ones at? If you made it to the end of this video, you are a real one. So let me know that you are one in the comment section by typing real one in all caps. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. I appreciate you, Steeler Nation. And until next time, peace.